Hello, we hope you're doing well. Welcome back to the last esports news episode of the weekend. I hope you all enjoy the rest of it as well. But it's going to be a great episode of CSGO news for all of you guys, including some breaking news out there as of last night. So first off, actually a couple days ago, we actually had brand new CT models. That's going to be for 3 maps out there: Agency, Office, as well as Nuke. And they've done this quite a bit in the past, although it does strike the question for the future of CSGO. Will this possibly be the rebranding of some sort of CT and T models, or maybe even the names of those sides, to actually kind of maybe attract a wider audience? If you guys do know, of course, the whole idea of a terrorist and a counter-terrorist group, and of course the CT side is going to try and stop the terrorists from blowing up a bomb. It's not the most publishable game out there, at least brand-wise and viewership-wise, and also that comes down to streaming as well. No one's really ever talked about that kind of side of things. If CSGO were to rebrand, of course, it's down to the basics, one of the better games out there in terms of FPS games, especially because it's so simple, you understand the game itself. But them being called counter-terrorists as well as terrorists, it does make you question in the future if that would be changed. But of course, only for these 3 maps. We now have FBI models. If you guys have been following the CT side and what they've actually been over the past few years, it was actually first they were called the GSG9s, also the Germans, then it was SEAL Team 6, which other maps still currently have, and then very lastly now we have the brand new rework for FBI models. It'll only be on those 3 maps for now, but it does again make me kind of wonder in the future of CSGO, will the FBI be this future counter-terrorist side, and will the terrorists eventually be called, I don't know, the bad guys, the evil guys? Stop doing that, guys. I don't know, maybe it's just me. It makes me wonder about the future of the game from a public standpoint. If we want the game to grow, maybe Valve is, I'm sure they have thought of it, but what would you guys think about that? Of course, if they don't get the names correct, and we've always known them as CT and T side or CT and T, it would be weird to have it change, but it's nonetheless something to think about for the future. But more importantly, why you guys might be here, the title obviously saying that apparently G2, well, I'm so confused by the situation. Let's overlap what we've actually covered so far. Ocelote is either the biggest troll, or he's actually foreshadowing some sort of future event. If you guys have followed his sequence of tweets out there, the very first one being potential French changes, he had those French flags, he said who, then we actually had the former Envious coach Malik join that roster, but that was only one French guy to join the team, so we thought maybe another French guy would join, whether that be Scream or Kiyoshima. And then actually after that, he actually stressed his disappointment with the team, the results in the major, that not doing too well, as well as ESL New York. They won that first best of 3 against FaZe Clan, then lost their next 2 best of 3s against Liquid NRG to be knocked out. He was very disappointed. We never have really seen a CEO actually publicly stress their disappointment, so we thought a roster change was definitely in store for this team. And now, as of late, we've actually had Ocelote tweet out things like this today, where some big news is apparently coming soon. We're not really sure what that big news is, if he's still trolling us. And at the same time, we actually had Nell leak. Apparently, all of the G2 roster has actually now been re-signed until the end of 2020 with lower salaries, but of course, that being a guaranteed about just over a year contract for those guys over there. Apparently, everyone has re-signed with that G2 roster besides KennyS. And this just opens a brand new can of worms. I'm not really sure where this would go. There is obviously, I mean, it's not even in debate. There is obviously no French opera in the same vicinity. There's no opera really in the game right now besides maybe a Guardian at some points in time, maybe even a simpler device if Simple does pick it up. But there is still no one in the French scene in the same vicinity when it comes to opping as there is, of course, when it comes to KennyS. Of course, the Water Boys, that French upcoming team that's going to be signed apparently by Vitality, they have yet to be signed. They have Zywoo, the young up-and-comer, but when it comes to experience and, of course, just overall dominance of that role in the French scene, it's by far and away KennyS. And so for him not to be re-signed, as of right now, thanks to Nell, he's actually been signed to G2 until February of next year, which gives him about 3 or 4 months with that roster. So apparently no changes will happen up until then, but what happens after that is going to be the big mystery with this roster, because without KennyS, of course, they still have Shocks on that team, but in terms of firepower, in terms of results, and statistically speaking, without KennyS on that roster, with the given results they've had with him, I can only imagine how bad it might be without him. Now, of course, that's an assumption. There could be someone out there that meshes better with these guys, but, you know, given the history together, you would think KennyS has to be the best option for this roster, so without him, they would naturally get worse. But we don't know, but this just makes so many questions for the future of this roster. Will they change? Will they not? As of right now, it seems KennyS has not re-signed, probably for that reason. Can he go somewhere else? And again, also, very lastly, with this string of confusing tweets out there, we now have Ocelote tweeting and actually replying to his tweet with this. If you guys don't know what POTUS means, it does mean President of the United States, which could possibly be a troll, or of course the allusion to maybe G2 is going to sign, of course, replacing KennyS, replacing someone on the team with a North American player. Who that might be, I'm done messing with you, Ocelote. You can just tell us. And again, like I said previously, guys, the Water Boys have yet to be signed. Now, the thing I would think about right now, either Vitality, of course, MBK and Apex, those buyouts would be extremely high if they don't wait. So I imagine they're probably going to wait until next year, early next year, or whenever those contracts do expire. I believe they were the same time as KennyS, so sometime in February. That would make most sense that Vitality, one, they wait to buy to actually not have to buy them out of their contracts, or two, to see if that Water Boys, the actual roster, MBK, Happy, also RPK, Apex, and alongside ZywOo, they can actually qualify for events, which they're currently trying to do. Of course, for the next major coming in Katowice 2019, early 2019, they'll have to re-qualify through the minor system. That's no guarantee. And as of right now, they're actually in the group stage. I think they actually have made it through the playoff stage of the GG Bet official tournament for the last spot at IEM Chicago. So we're going to see if that team can actually qualify. There might be two reasons as to why Vitality has not signed them yet, but that's it for rumors today in CSGO news. I'm sure I'll be back here Monday with some other news for you guys as the roster shuffles do continue. But as always, I hope you guys all enjoy. I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend, and thank you for stopping by here by Esports Talk for your latest CSGO news. As always, my name is Jake. I hope you all enjoyed, and okay, see ya.